Hello, welcome to my channel. It has been an eternity since I filmed a video. The last video that I filmed was back in December, which I posted in January. And from that time, from January till now, things have happened in my life. And I just wanted to share with you where I've been. As you can tell, I don't look great. My skin has been really bad, but honestly, that's the least of my worries. Basically, a year ago, I started to have issues with food. I recall the first time that I had an episode was when we had pizza. And I had about 2-3 slices of pizza and then had some breadsticks. And immediately after, let's say about 30 minutes, I started to have a really not a sharp pain. At that time, it was like a mild pain on my right side. And it wasn't a good pain. Like, I felt it and it was just like a little bit of discomfort, but it wasn't bad. It was like, okay pain. Like, I thought probably, okay, the grease, or I was just feeling bloated. I wasn't feeling good. So that happened. So I thought, oh, probably just the pizza. My stomach was upset about something. It wasn't feeling good. And then one time I had a tri-tip sandwich, really good sandwich, and again, an hour after I ate, I was just in pain. And at this time, my pain was like from the first time to the second time of the pain, it was a little bit more elevated. And this time I did felt like, oh God, like somebody just punched my stomach. That was the pain I was feeling. And again, it was right on my right side. And it took only about like 30 minutes to an hour, and then it just disappeared. During this time last year, I got 2 episodes where, my stomach was not happy. And this happened within probably in the same month. I had those 2 sharp pain. So then another month passes by. I was okay. Nothing happened. So I thought, okay, this pain that I'm having is just probably my stomach is just upset. Then I had another episode. But this time, instead of happening immediately after I ate, I went to sleep. I was feeling fine, nothing bad. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up in severe pain on my right side. And at this point, my pain had elevated from being the second time. This third time, my pain was so severe that I was in the bathroom, and my pain was on my right side, like under my rib cage. That's how I felt the pain. And also, too, I had pain in my back. And the pain was so severe that I started throwing up. It was bad. Like, I was just throwing up in pain. And I was curled in the ball in the bathroom. This time around, my pain was really, really bad. And I was just throwing up in pain. And I was curled up in a ball. And now the pain had lasted, instead of being 30 to an hour, it had lasted like an hour and 30 minutes. So it was, the more times I was getting the pain, the worse it was lasting and the worse it was getting. So I started not feeling good. But again, I thought, okay, probably the food wasn't good and I didn't feel great. And that's why I was having the pain. And at this point, my parents were getting worried. And they were telling me, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. And I didn't pay attention. I was like, no, it just probably something wasn't good. But I feel okay because the pain, it will last like for 30 to an hour, and I'm good. You know, after it goes, I'm fine. Like I could eat. Like, and honestly, like at this point I was eating like my regular style, you know, greasy foods left and right. I was eating normally without no pain, and sometimes I would get the pain only with certain foods. So I started catching up that every time I had my pain, it was because of the greasy foods. If I would eat like a pizza, a hamburger. So I was like, okay, it's the greasy food. I'll just not eat as much as I am used to. Well, we went into summer, and the summer I was pretty good. Nothing was happening. I was eating as usual, and I wouldn't get the pain. I was like, okay, yeah, so probably, I'm fine. Again, I started having the pain. And this time too, it was in the middle of the night. I woke up. Severe pain. I was throwing up. Right side, back side. I was really, really in pain, throwing up. And at this time, I laid on the floor, curled up in the ball. I would put a pillow between my stomach to really like push force against my stomach because I thought that was gonna help. So I noticed that each time my pain was getting bad and bad and bad and bad. But still, I wasn't going to a doctor. I was like, oh, you know, I'll be okay. I'm okay. It just happens when I eat greasy foods. If I stop eating greasy foods, I'm gonna be okay. I started incorporating more salads, more vegetables, more fruit, a lot more like healthy food, and eating pizza once in a while. So by then, and this was back in July. In July, I was like, okay, I'm healthy me. I'm gonna start eating healthy because I'm not feeling great. So I'm gonna start eating healthy and see if that helps. It did help. I didn't get the pain or anything. And then by August, I got another attack. And this one too, it was just bad. My pain was super bad. Laying on the floor, vomiting. I was like shivering at that point because my pain was so severe. But I just like put a hot water bottle near my stomach with a pillow, and that helped the pain. And again, my parents were like, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. And I was like, no. So then by August, I was having pain like every other week. And it was bad. Like I said, I was on the ground, shivering, pain left and right, vomiting. October passes. I got the pain twice. I remember that on October, I got my pain twice. And by that time, it was bad. Like I remember I would get the pain like every other week, or even if I would eat like just one fry, I was in pain. I was not feeling. So this was in October, not feeling great, but I still, you know, I wanted to be tough. I wanted to be like, no, nothing is wrong with me. And if you see my video from October, I do look very different from, it went like, instead of being like a consistency losing weight, I went like from being, you know, this weight to here. So my body like literally went downhill. I lost a lot of weight. I always used to, like I said, I always used to be chubbier, and I never had problems with my weight. And honestly, like, I don't care if I'm chubby or whatever, but you could see a huge difference already from October, from during the summer to October. You could see a difference. Like, hey, something happened. Like I changed completely. Like I lost a lot of weight. It was bad. And the thing with this pain, like I would be in pain for an hour or two, and then the rest of the day I felt really weak. I had to like lay down, take a rest day, because I was feeling really, really weak, and I could feel it too. Like I would get up and I felt like my sugar levels were low, and I didn't went to the doctor. I should have gone to the doctor when I felt like my sugar was low, because that was a big indication that something was not good. So November passes, and I think I got like two or three attacks. I was able to adjust my eating habits. I was eating salads. I was eating healthier. I was really trying to eat healthy. And that helped with my attacks. So December, I didn't get no pain at all. Like I was lucky that during the holidays, I ate the way that I ate. I did have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I still was watching what I ate. But thank God that I didn't get no pain during December. Then January comes, and I was like, oh yeah, 2021, new me, new year, I'll be good, healthy. But oh no, things turn completely opposite of what I wanted 2021 to be. At this time, my pain was like an exponential growth. Like each time it was just getting worse. But again, I wasn't going to the doctor. I was like, okay, I'll be fine. But at this time, I was definitely shaking a lot every time I had my pain. I was shaking, a little bit of fever, throwing up. It was just bad. I had to curl up in the ball. And the pain was lasting like for hours instead of just an hour, 30 minutes. No, this time around, my pain was intensifying. But again, I was not going to the doctor. One day, I get the pain. And this time, I just couldn't handle it no more. I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? Why am I getting this pain? What is happening to my body? Why? So at this time, I remember it was at night. I got the pain. It was around 7 o'clock. I had lunch, and my lunch was just a chicken salad with some ranch dressing. Immediately after I ate, within the, let's say 3 minutes, yeah, because it was not even 5 minutes, I started getting the pain. At this time, I was like having difficult breathing. My pain would, like I said, it would start on the right side and it would go to my back, and I would just start vomiting, and I was just in pain. And I was shaking at this point. So my brother, he takes me to the emergency room. And when I was in the ER, they did the IV, they put everything, they kept asking me what kind of symptoms I was having, for how long I've had these symptoms, and this was in January, and I had symptoms since last year, like in February 2020. So it was almost a year that I was having these symptoms, and until now I was going to the ER. So they did the CT scan. They take me to the CT scan, and the doctor was explaining that there was no ultrasound technician, but they did the CT scan. So they did that. I came back to my room, and I was really thankful for the hospital because they quickly got me in. They quickly checked me in. They did the CT scan. I came back, and the doctor tells me that on the CT scan they couldn't see anything, but my pathways were cleared. And he mentions that I could potentially have a gallbladder. I could potentially have stones in my gallbladder, and that's what's causing me the attack. And it makes sense because there's a history in my family that my mom had gallstones, my grandma had gallstones, my aunt had gallstones, and they had their gallbladder removed. So there was a history already in my family, and I'm like, okay, so lucky me, I got the good genes to have stones in my gallbladder. So they couldn't do anything right there and then because I needed to get, an ultrasound and do more testing. And because they saw that my pathways were clear, they were like, you probably passed a stone and that's why you were having those attacks. So we do recommend you to get an ultrasound done and take action. So I'm like, okay. So then I got discharged. I was only there for 2 hours. So it was a really like in and out. They did what they did and they looked like, okay, you're doing good. So then the following day I made an appointment to a doctor because the doctor has like authorize you to go to get an ultrasound. So I went to the doctor and then they were like, okay, so you're going to get the ultrasound done. And I ended up going the following day to get the following week to get the ultrasound done. So then I got home and immediately when I got home, they called me and they're like, yes, you have stones and we need to remove your gallbladder. So the doctor was telling me that they were going to send my information to a specialist. And the specialist was going to contact me to make, the first appointment and get my gallbladder removed. So when they said that, I did cry a little bit because I did not want to go under surgery because I've never had surgery before in my life. So then weeks were passing by. I was not hearing anything from the specialist. I was getting nervous. Oh, and by the way, at this time, the doctor, when she called me and told me that I had stones and that I have to wait until the specialist contacts me, she also mentions that I should be in a liquid diet. Basically, just have anything bland food diet. Basically, eat vegetables, eat fruits, not to eat anything greasy at all, no meat, not even chicken meat, because even if I would eat chicken meat, I was already in pain. So I was literally in a strict diet, just basically of liquids. So at this point, my weight started going even further down. So then the weeks were passing by in January, and towards the third or fourth, it was the fourth week of January, or third, towards the end, the specialists, they called me for an appointment. And I was telling them I'm having this pain, I'm not feeling good, I want to get an appointment as soon as possible. Well, this made me really upset because I was already in pain and I wanted this to end. They mentioned that they couldn't see me until the last week of February. I was a little bit in shock and I kept mentioning, hey, I'm in pain. Or is there another, can you refer me to another doctor? Because I'm in pain and I just wanted to get it over with. And they were like, oh no, because of COVID and everything that's happening. There are delays, so I'm like, okay, I understand that because of the delays, but I'm in pain. I'm in severe pain. And they were like, no, we'll contact you if there's any opening or whatever. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So at this point, I was literally in a liquid diet. And even though I would have a little piece of chicken, my stomach was on fire. I was not feeling good. I was throwing up. So at this point, my pain and my body was not tolerating anything. And I started to just feel really, really sick. And this was affecting a lot in my life because I just needed to be home. I just needed to be home. I felt my body very weak because I was not eating. I felt my body very weak. I needed to sit down a lot more. I was having hot sweats. People didn't see, but I was literally dying inside. Like, I was just not feeling myself. We jump into February. And by the 1st of February, I was really good. Like, that day, the 1st of February, can't even speak. The 1st of February, I was good. Like, that day, I woke up, I had energy, eating just my liquids, and I was good. And then at 6 at night, I had a banana for lunch. Just a banana for lunch. And I was good. Had my banana, drank my water. I went to bed at like around 11. And I was good. Following day, I woke up with the worst pain of my life. And it was on my right side again. My back, I had back pain. I felt like I was going to throw up. But this time around too, my pain was on my left side of my body. So at this point, my whole stomach, like on top, like where your rib cage sits, that whole area was in pain. Really bad pain. I was shaking. I was curled up in the ball. I couldn't take it no more. So then my brother was like, no, I'm taking you to the ER. So he drives me to the ER. So they immediately admitted me in. They checked. They put an IV on me. And I was, crying because I was in pain. Like, I couldn't take it no more. Like, what the heck is going around with my body? What is causing me to have all of this? So then the doctor comes in, and I'm really, 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 really grateful that I chose this hospital to go for my ER instead of the other one where the other specialist was. I'm really happy I went to this one around 8 in the morning, 8 or 9, that I went to the ER because I woke up and I was in pain. Like, literally the 2nd of February, I woke up in pain and I felt like I was dying. So I went to the ER, and from there, they take me for an ultrasound. And the doctor comes in, and the doctor was like, we're going to go do a CT scan for you because it did show that there's some stones, but we're going to do a CT scan and see if there's anything going on. So basically, the CT scan, like I mentioned, is to check if your pathways are looking good. So he takes me in. They did the CT scan, and also the CT scan techs were really, really nice people. Like, they treated me well. And at this point, I was really, really weak. I couldn't get up on myself. I needed help. So they did the CT scan, and she mentions, you may or may not feel anything. And literally when they put the dye in, you could feel it in your throat and you feel like you're going to pee. So they did check my pathways. And then I went back to my room. Immediately after the transporter brings me back into my room, immediately the nurse comes in and she's like, you're going for an MRI. At this point, I was like, okay, something serious is happening to my body, because for an ultrasound, for a CT scan, and for an MRI, it means that something it's not good. Because, and I felt it in my soul, in my body, because I had my pain on the right side. Usually it was on the left side, all good, but this time it was on my right side. So they take me to the MRI, and I'm not claustrophobic, so I was like, I just closed my eyes, and literally I was in there. So then the doctor comes in, and the doctor explains to me the situation. And this is where things, went a little bit chaotic. So basically, my gallbladder, not only did it have stones, but it was full of stones, and I had sludge. Usually people only have stones, but I have stones and sludge. So basically, like, almost kind of grainy dirt or sand with stones. And my gallbladder was full of stones. And also, so not just that, that's why I was having the pain, but not just that, I also had stones stuck in my common bile duct. So that's where the pain was coming from. So I had stones in my gallbladder, and those stones were traveling the common bile duct. They were getting out of the gallbladder and they were traveling. Well, I had 3 or 4 stones stuck in my common bile duct. So basically that tube, that common bile duct was stuck, causing my gallbladder to be inflamed, but not only my gallbladder, my pancreas to be inflamed. So this time I was having pancreatitis. So my pancreas was inflamed. And the doctor was explaining to me that their priority was to control that inflammation of my pancreas, because you only have one organ, one pancreas. So they had to control that before doing any surgery. So I couldn't go into surgery immediately because they had to control the pancreas, because it was really inflamed. And then plus I had stones stuck in my common bile duct, and I had stones in my gallbladder. So I was having a situation. My body was having some kind of a party inside. So then they transported me to my room, the 2nd floor. And I'm really, really thankful for this hospital. They were super nice, like I mentioned. And also the nurses were amazing. The doctors were amazing. And plus I had my own room. So at this point, they sent me to my room, and I had my own room, my own bathroom. It was just by myself, which I was glad. So then the specialist comes in and he mentions what the doctor had mentioned. And the specialist was telling me that in order for me to have my gallbladder removed, the pancreas had to be, the inflammation had to go down. But again, he couldn't go into my gallbladder until they removed the stone stuck in my common bile duct. So that was another specialist that had to do that work. So basically, I was just in for a roller coaster. And so that was Tuesday. So Tuesday night, I was there sleeping. They would get blood from me, did all that. Nurses super helpful. So then Wednesday morning, they came in very early in the morning. They usually come in like around 5 o'clock in the morning. They draw blood. They drew blood to do testing. And then the doctor came in, and the doctor was telling me, hey, you're still inflamed. We cannot do anything right now because your pancreas is still inflamed and we can't do nothing. So Tuesday happens, they couldn't do nothing. Wednesday comes in, they couldn't do nothing. So the whole day I was just laying in bed. I would get up and like walk around my room, look outside because I had a window, and I was just like creeping down the neighbors because the hospital's in a neighborhood. So I was just there staring. It was nothing. Like I felt worried, but I wasn't, bad. Like I still felt like, okay, they're taking care of me. I'm good. Wednesday night happens and my body started going downhill. Like I had issues during the night. My sugar levels were extremely, extremely low to the point where they actually had to put like literally a syringe full like of sugar for my body to go, for my sugar levels to go up, because my sugar levels were, I believe, in the 50s. So it was super, super low. And the nurse kept asking me, do you feel shaky? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? I'm like, I don't feel nothing, because I was just laying down. I wasn't moving. And so the nurse comes in and they did like a shot full of sugar. And oh my God, that was painful. And it was just pure sugar. And she kept saying, it's just sugar, sugar. I'm like, yeah, but if it was a burning sensation in my throat and like here in my chest and my arms. So I was just in pain. And at that point, I just started crying. I was like, I don't feel good. But it was because of the pain that I was feeling. So then Wednesday night happened. And honestly, the nurses were amazing throughout the night. When I needed anything, they were there. But again, I was able to walk by myself and go to the restroom connected to the IV. I could take a shower and by myself. Like I was okay. Thursday. So Thursday morning, they come and draw blood again. And by 9 o'clock, the doctor comes in, specialist, and he tells me, hey, your numbers are good. Your inflammation has gotten down. We're going to get the first procedure going. We're going to remove the stones with the ERCP first, remove those stones. But I cannot remove your gallbladder today because we have to wait and see if there's no infection for the following day. So I was like, okay, no problem. So then that Thursday morning, the nurses told me like around 2:30, my procedure was going to be done. So I got that. So I was just there waiting, and I was I was nervous. I was not, I was nervous to get the procedure done. I was really nervous because I've never been under anesthesia and I didn't know what to expect. Around 1:30, the nurse tells me, prepare, they're going to be up here in 10 minutes to take you down to the basement or down the first floor for your procedure. And I was like, okay. I started praying. My sister was there with me. Yeah, my parents, my mom and my dad, they wanted to go to the hospital and see me. But because of, COVID and everything, I was like, no, stay home. It's better to be safe at home because you don't know. And so I was talking to my mom on the phone, explained to her that, at 2:30 I was going to get my procedure done. And, I was nervous. So then 1:30 comes in. And then around 1:50, two nurses come in. They were like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." So they unhooked me up from the IV. I laid down in a bed and they wheeled me down to the first floor. Oh my God, it's the worst feeling when they come for you and you're going into surgery. So I would just close my eyes and I was praying when I was going down that everything would be okay. I was extremely, extremely nervous, and the nurses kept reassuring me that everything was going to be okay, that it's a very common procedure to have done, and it's not an invasive procedure and all of that. So I was like, okay. So then they prepare me, they explain everything, they go in, they start connecting me with everything, and they put a mask on me, and then the anesthesiologist puts the anesthesia, and the nurse was like, okay, count to 3, 1. So I took a deep breath. 2, I took another deep breath. 3, I took another deep breath. And when I took the third deep breath, I was gone. Like I didn't feel anything, like I was just knocked out. So I just remember taking that third deep breath, and I don't remember releasing the breath. So I was gone. Then when I woke up, I remember, I don't know, my mind was just tripping, I think. I remember I woke up and I didn't felt no pain because literally they didn't cut anything when they did the ERCP. They just literally went in to remove those stones that I had stuck in my common bile duct. So then they removed my stones, and I remember when I woke up from that procedure, the first thing I did, because I was still under anesthesia, I started to open my eyes, and the nurse was telling me, do you feel pain? I'm like, no, I don't feel pain. I feel like I'm going to throw up. So she puts medicine, and I felt my lip. I ripped my lip, so my lip was swollen. My mouth, my inside, my throat felt like I had a sore throat because of the camera and all of the stuff they put into my mouth. So my throat was hurting like if I had a sore throat. At night, that's when I started feeling like my body was sore from the procedure. I felt it in my body, like if I've done so much exercise, and I couldn't get up without having assistance because I just felt like my whole body was crumbling. For the ERCP, I wasn't that nervous, but for this procedure, I was really nervous because they were actually gonna cut me. They were gonna do laparoscopic surgery. Basically, they would do holes in my stomach to get into it to remove my gallbladder. Around 1:30, the nurse tells me they're gonna come in for you for your 2:30 procedure. They came in. At this point, like my hands, my body was all just pale because I was so nervous for this procedure. Really, really nervous. I just didn't know what to expect. So then at 1:50 again, the nurses came in and they were like, "Are you ready?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." They disconnected from my IV. They put me in the bed. And again, we were going down to the first or basement floor. I just closed my eye, pray to God that everything went well, and to forgive me if I've done bad things in this world. I remember they were pushing me, just praying to God that everything would come out good. At this point, I was a little bit nervous because when I got my ERCP done, there was nobody else. It was just me, and that's it. This time around, there was a lot of patients coming in and out, and I was in one of the stalls, at a waiting room, a huge waiting room, and they put a curtain around me, and I could hear the other patients coming out of surgery and everything. So that made it worse. And this time around, instead of me going directly to the operating room, I stayed there in that waiting room for a while. It was, I they said that my surgery was around 2:30. I didn't go into the surgery room until like 4:30. So I was there for a long time. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my God, my parents are going to be worried. My family's going to be worried that, they haven't heard anything from me because they don't know what the heck is going on. At this point, I was getting worried, really worried. So then they wheeled me down. They wheeled me into the room for the operating room. And when I got the ERCP, they knocked me out. I didn't know what the heck what happened afterwards. But this time around, they actually like, okay, move into this bed, into the surgery bed. They strapped my legs. They did everything. They put my arm out. They were like, in case we need to get you an IV for an emergency, we're going to put your hand this way. So I was awake when they were preparing me. And they were explaining to me the risk, if something bad had to happen, what were the consequences and where they had to take me if things were bad. So then they put my arm, the anesthesiologist got near me. She didn't even say when the anesthesia was going in. They, I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to feel anything. But I felt it when the anesthesia was going in. And the nurse puts the mask on me and he was like, okay, count. So I was like, deep. I took a deep breath. 1, 2, I took another deep breath. 3, I took another deep breath. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not knocking out. Because last time, by the third breath, I was knocked out. So then I took a fourth breath. For the fourth breath, I remember just seeing the bright lights and I was gone. And after that, I woke up in the recovery room there, same recovery. I remember waking up and I opened my eyes and I just see cloudiness. And the nurse immediately, as soon as she saw that I opened my eyes, she was like, are you in pain? I was like, I'm in pain. But not in pain inside. I had pain outside because of the where they did the laparoscopic, where they cut me open. That's where I felt pain, but I didn't feel pain inside. I was like, yeah, I feel pain. I feel nauseated. So she puts immediately medication. And I remember I knocked out. I don't know for how long I knocked out because I remember coming back and she was like, do you feel pain? I was like, yes, I feel pain. And then she's like, let me give you a little bit more medication. I think they were putting morphine because they knocked me out. And I remember one instance I opened my eyes and the nurse was an older nurse and I was like, you're an angel. And she's like, oh, sweetie. Because I was just so knocked out. And then I remember she put medication and she was like, okay, they're going to take you to your room. So, I was asleep. I didn't felt the ride up to my room. I just felt like I was moving, but I didn't feel anything. And I remember when they got to my room, they asked me, can you walk? And I was like, no, I cannot walk. I'm like, I cannot walk because they wanted me to walk to transfer to my bed. So they put both of my beds together and then they transferred me. And I remember I was in pain, not in pain inside. I didn't feel no pain. The pain that I felt was because of the cuts that they made. And I remember seeing my brother there and he looked, worried about me. But I remember he was there and then they transferred me to my bed. And I remember saying, I'm really, really cold. And oh my God, they put 10 blankets on me. That's how cold I felt. Like I was just freezing. And I'm like, I'm really cold, really cold. And they put 10 blankets. And then the nurse tried to check my stomach. And she tried to, with stethoscope, she's tried to hear anything. And I remember like my stomach was so tender. She tried to put try to hear my stomach and I just grabbed her hand. I was like, no, please. And I was crying. I was like, no, it hurts. My stomach I feel really tender. It hurts. Then they put compressors in my legs to help with the surgery. And then they put an alarm on my bed so I couldn't get up. And still I couldn't get up. Like I was just knocked out. So then my sister comes in too. She sees me, I could hear that she was crying. I was in and out of my state. Like I was literally like out and I kept saying like I'm in pain. So they gave medication and that knocked me out. And like I said, thank God. And I remember that the surgery was going to be at 2:30, but I didn't wait until 4:30. And I remember opening my eyes and seeing the clock in the room and it was already 7:30. So it was a long time since the day for my surgery. And thank God that my surgery was in the afternoon because like I said, I was able to stay in the hospital throughout the night. So if I needed anything, the nurses were there. And also too, throughout like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday, the day I had my surgery, I had 3 nurses in total helping me. I had 2 RNAs and 1 CNA because they were training new nurses. So I got lucky that I was able to have multiple nurses to help me if I needed anything. And by this point, my body was super sore, especially because I had that ERCP done. So my body was sore. And then with the surgery, my body was extremely sore. I couldn't even get up. I needed help to get up. I remember in the middle of the night, the nurse came in, and also too, they left me have the TV on, and I have the travel channel with the ghost. So I was throughout the whole night they were showing just ghosts and spirits and everything on the TV, and I remember being knocked out but waking and hearing stuff. But the nurses were amazing. So throughout the night, I just felt pain, like not pain, but I couldn't move. And I remember the nurse was like, "Oh, you need to go to the restroom. You need to go to the restroom." I'm like, I can't move. And she's like, "Don't worry, I'll help you." And literally she carried me. She hugged me to get up and help me to the restroom because I couldn't move. And I remember crying to her and telling her, "I'm so sorry that I can't move." And she was like, "There's no need for you to be crying, no need for you to be crying. You're healthy now. You're going to be good." But my body just felt really, really down. So then Friday night, I was able to kind of sleep. I was in and out, and they gave medication when I needed. They were there for me. And then the morning, my sister was there with me. I woke up, and the nurse came in, and she was like, "You're looking good. Are you able to pass gas? Are you able to feel good?" And I felt bubbly in my stomach because of the gas that they put into me. In the morning, they brought me food. They brought me like little soup, and they were like, "Okay, you're doing good." And as soon as I was able to get up, I just started walking a little bit because you need to walk. And I started walking. I felt a little bit good, but I still felt my stomach really tender. So they gave me a little soup. I was able to eat after. Oh, and also too, since I was there in the hospital, I didn't have nothing to eat. So I was there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Nothing to eat. I was able to eat something until Saturday morning. So I spent like almost 5 days without eating nothing, especially too because Monday I only had that banana. So for 5 days I had nothing to eat. I was an NPO patient, basically nothing. I just had my IV fueling my body. So I was not eating nothing for those whole days. So eating a soup, even the soup was just not the best, but for me, I was so grateful that I was able to eat a soup, have an orange juice, have a drink of water, because I cannot even drink water throughout my stay. So it was very difficult, but I was grateful that I did the surgery and I was able to feel good. So then by 11 Saturday, the doctor comes in and he was like, "Yeah, your gallbladder was full of stones. You had sludge. We're going to send the gallbladder to get tested to see if there's anything, to be 100% sure that there's nothing bad with it." So then around 11, they came in with breakfast with eggs, sausage, and milk and juice. And they were like, "Eat so we could see that you're good, that your system is good." And I remember just having a little bit of, I was so hungry too. I'm like, I'm ready to eat. And once they put the plate in front of me, I didn't feel good to eat because after 5 days of not eating, So I only ate like a sausage, a little bit of egg, and nothing happened. My body responded good. So then an hour later, I was able to leave. And I was really, really grateful for the nurses, for the staff, for the doctors. Everybody there were super, super nice. So I left, and my sister went for me. I came home. I couldn't wait to see my parents. And I could see my parents' shock when they saw me because when I went to the hospital, my weight was like around 150. So 150, I went down to 130. So right now I look kind of healthy, but literally you could see my bones. I didn't look good at all. Like I could see the shock in my parents' face that they were like, "Oh my God." So far right now, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a lot of energy. If you feel something in your body is not right, go to the doctor. Because if I would have gone to the doctor sooner, they could have just removed my gallbladder and I wouldn't have been in the hospital as long as I had. Because still sometimes I'm just thinking like, "Oh my God, I went through this." And I'm thankful that it wasn't that bad. Like it was just my gallbladder, but that gallbladder made everything worse. And then I went to the doctor and the doctor told me, "Hey, your results came in negative. There was no cancer cells in your gallbladder, so that's good." And I just wanted to share that with you guys today. Do my makeup because I haven't done my makeup in a long time, and I really wanted to share this with you guys. So if anybody out there is going through the same thing, that there's hope, and with God, everything's possible. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was not boring. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.